Right, I haven't been able to do a video since the Fed decision. So 25 basis points. We had the move all the way up. We had the move all the way down in the dollar, the move all the way up in the metals leading up to it. And then it was maybe it's between 25 and 50, wasn't it? And they went for 25, which is bearish for the metals. If we just go by standard theory, even though it's incredibly bullish, the fact that they're going to cut rates. But anyway, I understand why we went down a little bit. Basically we didn't even go down. We just retraced the last 2 days, and here we are, back at 36.50 sideways with sort of 1 day away, 1.5 days away from making new all-time highs in gold, which I actually think might happen, because I don't trust the initial day, the reaction. I mean, there's always two reactions. It's like the minute the news comes out, it goes up or down and then reverses. So there's that type of reaction. I usually trust the one by the close, which is Wednesday close, which was down. And by Thursday, it was a continuation, but it was pretty calm. And here we are already the next day. And by the way, let's look at silver because we just retraced the pop at the last, the 2 days before the Fed decision. So Monday, Tuesday's move up. Same sort of thing here. You had that Monday, yeah, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. Friday, silver was extra strong, wasn't it? It was leading the way. It went down, and we already had a green day yesterday, and we kind of already stabilized. So I don't see a big move down. You've also got that ascending, and here we are, we're 1 day ahead in silver. Imagine we stay as we are now. Come Monday, you have another update, you're touching 43. That's it. You're going to 44, you might even go to 50. So even though the 25 basis points was sort of not as aggressive as 50 and therefore bearish, even though it's absolutely not bearish, I and also the fact that the metals have been running up to this event and the DXY has been running down to this event, and then boom, then you got your Wednesday. I mean, this looked weak. This looked like it had to go down here. But then when you've had this move and what I've just said with the metals, of course you're gonna have a reversal. Well, I say, of course, it doesn't surprise me, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But once it went up, it's obviously going to go back up. It's obviously going to touch this. I don't know if we're going to break out though. I think DXY could just do this and then go back down to 96.5 and then flush, just like I think gold and silver are stabilizing now, and they're going to go back up and break out. That's what I feel. Right, yields also they kind of did the same as the dollar, and the long term. I feel like they're actually going to go up no matter what happens because long term we're screwed. We need higher rates. The debt's going to be indefinite. Same for 10 year. The 2 year, yeah, it's doing its bounce like the dollar, but probably go back down and flush like the dollar. All right, let's check out the miners because that's where most of the money is. Pretty good, pretty good. So we had that big. No, yeah, Tuesday was actually a bit of a down day. Fine. Wednesday, that's your Fed day. And yesterday, look at that. That was quite good. For me, it was basically unchanged if I look at all the miners. I wasn't down, I wasn't up. I should have been up actually if I look at the GDX, but it was up by, well, not even 0.2%, so fair enough. But great close. We closed a higher day for sure. So today, Friday, we should go back up. And honestly, we're one great day away from all-time highs. I mean, the recent highs. Just like silver is one very good day away. Gold is probably 2 days away. But if momentum is with us, if the drop is over, I was looking forward to a bigger drop. Huh? I mean, I wasn't sure, but if we dropped, I was licking my lips, and I haven't had much at all. I bought a little bit of Heckler, a little bit of CDE because it was strong, and I bought a little bit of EXK, basically and First Majestic. The silver stocks is actually what I bought, especially the ones that were mostly destroyed. Yesterday at the low of day, like they were -5%, almost six at one point. But I wanted way more. I added little nibbles as usual. So this moved down to 63.8 or wherever we go. So far, it's not happening, which is well, it's good and bad. I mean, it's bad if you wanted to add like me, but it's good if you've still got loads of money in like me too. GDXJ, look at that. Perfect hammer. Looks like it wants to go back up. It's got quite a way to go. GDXJ, how much of a move is that? Yeah, 5%. Yeah, that's one good day away. And today, if today's okay, it probably touch 90. That might be resistance. And we have to wait for next week to see if we can break out through 92. Let's see what silver does. SIL, same sort of candle. Also, same, 66 will be resistance. After that, 68. That needs silver to move. Silver's been good though. SILJ, exact same thing. So the miners, they've had a little bit, and you know what? If you take from the high to the low, it's a decent move down, 8%. It's still a vertical chart, but for a good reason. And gold and silver look like they stabilize. So anyway, if the metals go down, we've got all these levels to look at. I think we stay green today. I think the DXY is going to start to turn. And honestly, next week, if we have a good close this Friday, if we have a nice little move up, nothing crazy, 1 or 2%, then you could start looking at next week and say, okay, we're going to make new highs. Because ultimately, what did the Fed do? They cut rates. Oh, well, that's bullish. The market knew it, that's why it went up. But we've been going up before rate cuts. We've been going up with rate hikes and with no rate cuts. So the thesis is complete. It's only stronger. And it's 25 now. It won't do much. It'll probably be another 25 before the end of this year. It doesn't matter. Long term, we go up, and short term doesn't even look like we're going to go down too much. If I look at the portfolio update, there's not much. They just sort of look the same. Look at that. It looks great. That's not a massive retrace. You can't even see a retracement there. You can't see that, the miners went down 8%. Not when you look at Newmont. And the senior gold stocks are a good place to be defensive. Look at Barrick. Geez, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that Barrick Gold at 2% yesterday closed at new. Oh, there you go. That's all you need to know. Well, that's going to go straight to 31 today. And then on Monday next week, we're starting to move towards 40s. How did I not see that? Because it was just 2%. I guess I'm used to seeing things like 2% and just saying, no, that's nothing. That's not interesting enough. But on a day like yesterday, I should have checked. Very nice. Oh, I didn't. There was a little bit of news or report out, wasn't there, about how Barrick is their financials look really good or something. Or it's just some ex post that was very persuasive. Agnico Eagle, amazing. Where's your retracement there? That's not retracement, that's just standard procedure after having a big move up. And it's actually less of a retracement than before. Today we probably make new highs again. 156 will be tested. Amazing. The senior gold stocks. I mean, the mid-tier silver stocks that I'm in, they've obviously been outperforming the gold stocks. You'd have them up 4 or 5%, whilst the gold stocks are at 1. But at least on the defensive here, they've definitely outperformed because the silver stocks were down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6%, and these were just down 1, and in the end they were up. But the silver stocks also obviously made up quite a lot. Pan American Silver, that's more of a silver stock, I guess, than a senior gold stock. That came down like the others, filled the gap, very nice. I've got all my old levels in place. Well, back up we go. Yeah, I guess 36 will be resistance. This would just be like silver stocks. Wheaton, yeah, back to breakout. These were lines I had in before. So straight back, you can see even day of the Fed, that was support today, confirmed support. That I'll take out 108 and run. Not this week, not Friday. Franco Nevada, perfect. On the steep ascending. It's almost an excuse to retrace. We had a big move up. It was an excuse to retrace, but it was the smallest retracement. That's what happened in gold, silver, and the miners. It was the first level of support across the board overall. I'm looking at loads of stocks, the ETFs, gold, silver. Basically, by and large, they all just hit their first level of support and went back up. That's what I'm taking out from this. Metalla was going down already, whilst everything was going up Friday, Monday, Tuesday. That's hasn't really done too much. Just an excuse to fully retrace, let's say, and now it's going to go back up and take out 6 if everything keeps going up next week, of course. But Metallic looks like its retracement is over. I am gold didn't even really hit the first level of support, which would have been this line, I guess. Yeah, that's a obvious line. Very strong, Okay, you have your one down day, 1 or 2. Sorry, even though that's a green candle, it's basically actually I am gold closed green on Fed day because they did do it. It was up and down, and it didn't close at low days, so Fed day wasn't as bearish as everyone thinks. But yeah, also 1 day away, Equinox. Also 1 or 2 days away from retesting 11. And today, if we stay green, will be one of those days. B2 gold, retrace and back up. That's it, man. I mean, that's Aris money. Oh, that one was a bit lower today. Yeah, that closed a lower day. That one just probably wants another down day. Fine. 10 was resistance, as I thought. Harmony, that's a bit special. It's a special chart. Doesn't look like the others. It hasn't been following GDX. Had bad news, but that one I expect just to go sideways. And to be honest, has not gone down much at all since Fed Day. Fed Day was like any other day, just sideways until it breaks out of here. Breakout the descending, then confirm the breakout by closing above 1630, and then up we go to 19. SPSW looks a bit like Harmony actually. Sideways. There was no Fed Day for SPSW. If we look at the silver stocks, there the move is a bit more pronounced. First Majestic, there's your Tuesday, Wednesday drop. And then yesterday's stabilization here, we did go back up to first level. It's honestly, it's like the others, prior resistance becomes support. It's just the move is a bit bigger because it's silver stocks, quite simply. So First Majestic, I did buy back yesterday. Fortuna, I did not because Fortuna I don't like at the moment. I actually want to trim my way out of that one. If there was, if it wasn't that If I wasn't that unsure about it, I probably would have bought back a little bit. It's not the biggest move, but it's just an obvious, support zone first level. But I didn't touch Fortuna yesterday. I touched First Majestic. I touched CDE at the low of day. It was like down 4 or 5%. I forgot where, but I did. That looks like today it could maybe even test 17. So I mean, look, you just look at CDE, the best ones, just to get an indication of how strong silver is. That's just one day away, not even two. Heckler closed a high of day two. Not as strong as CDE. Closed down 2%. CDE was up by the end of the day yesterday. That just needs 1 or 2 days. But look at this super strong move. I mean, maybe it did overdo. No, it's fine. It's fine. 1 or 2 days away. EXK, I added two. I actually added to the EXK because Don Direct wanted to add, it was like one of his top 6 or 7 miners he wants to add to. And because yesterday on Fed Day, EXK was green by a lot. It stood out. It was up like 4 or 5%. I thought, what's going on here? So we have a retracement on Thursday because everything's going down. I bought that. That's why I bought that. Sort of because of its performance on Fed Wednesday, and because Don Durrett suggests it's one of the best ones to buy on the dip. So I was like, okay, done. And it's mine anyway. So that's it, right? I mean, I have my other crazy juniors, let's say, they almost don't count, but they didn't come down that much. Certainly not enough for me to buy. I would have loved to buy Aftermath. Actually, I'm looking at the US ticker. I got the Canadian one. Then I got Guanajuato. I've also got the Canadian one, but it doesn't matter. It's the same candle. Yeah, I mean, my entry is like here. I've actually done quite well on that one. I wasn't sure, and it might still happen. A bigger retrace. That's when I'll buy the juniors a bit more. I don't want to start buying the juniors way too high, even though I think they're going to go way higher. And last of all is Aya Gold Silver. I haven't even checked that chart. Yes, that went all the way, that retreat. Yeah, it's basically back to breakout level. Basically, like the others, even though its chart looks different, they've all done the same thing. They've all come down to their next and first level of support. So certainly not bearish. Let's see today. Today should be a mediocre green day, but next week, very, very likely that we make new highs in the metals and some of the miners, which is great, especially for a 25 basis point news, which was priced in, but it was the bearish case. So I think all things considered pretty good. All right, good luck. Let's see what happens today anyway.